All right, we're back with another live stream. I started All in Texas yesterday on my live stream yesterday. I'm halfway through my review, but it's Wednesday today. You know what that means. AEW Dynamite's coming up, so I gotta finish my review of All In, the last 3+ hours of it before Dynamite hits the air tonight. I had meant to wake up earlier, honestly, so I could go through this really slowly and really discuss everything in depth. But once again, I am up against the clock. I have about an hour left before work, so I'm trying to squeeze this in. I think it should be enough time, 1 hour, to talk about a handful of matches. I think it's 4 or 5 matches, something like that. But it's okay. Alright, so we left off with the Young Bucks losing their EVP status. That was the last storyline that I reviewed yesterday. I put a link in the description below. It's live stream number 44 it was. You could look for it on our page in the live streams tab. That was the first half of All In and Supercard of Honor. I reviewed everything. And here we go with the next storyline. So the next storyline, there's a video package for the Casino Gauntlet match, which they advertise Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander starting. So the first two people are really marquee when it comes to these gauntlet matches that Tony Khan puts on. Interesting idea for a match, I think, you know, when everyone comes in and they just join the match, becomes a 3-way, a 4-way, a 5-way, etc. It's a wild matchup. But here we go. So first in, it's Statlander, then Megan Bayne. She's with Penelope. Penelope, I presume, is not in the match. But let's see. We got more contestants coming in. After some fighting, Willow comes in, and she has a moment with Chris Statlander here. So we all know the story that's been going on with them. Statlander wants to make nice, but Willow's like, hell nah. So she just smacks her, and it's on. The war is on. So actually, I think stemming from that, Statlander kind of joined up with Megan Bayne, sort of a little alliance for a few minutes, as you see a double choke slam here onto Willow. But we got more people pouring in. Let's see what we got. We got Ty Mello, Sammy Guevara's squeeze, if you will. Here's some interference. Megan Bayne has Ty Conti up over here on her shoulder, and Penelope Ford just is ready to help her, but here comes Harley Cameron. All right, so here's another entrant into the match. This match is notorious because there's a lot of people that hang around and really participate in this match, and they're not really in the match. Penelope and Harley Cameron here. Harley's return after a broken nose at the hands of Megan Bayne and Penelope, so it's a dramatic return for them, and she pushes Penelope Ford off the apron. Alright, let's see what we got next. Anna Jay. So here's Anna Jay. Anna Jay's here. She's also not in the match, I presume. And they proceed to beat up Penelope Ford on the outside. So, again, more shenanigans in this match as they keep fighting off. I'm moving on with the match, though. Anna Jay. Oh, we're still on Anna Jay and Penelope. Okay, so Anna yells at her for slapping her. She yells at Penelope. She says, "You bitch." And there you go. The chase is on. So that's how they get rid of them. Okay. I was trying to remember how they all left, but yes. She calls on Harley Cameron, and they both chase her. So Penelope running for her life, and she's going to leave Megan Bayne in there on her own. So now we can proceed with the match. There they go. Tekla's in, okay? After a number of spots that I'm skipping, including some impressive moves by Tekla, Julia Hart, she enters, moonsault immediately. Nice little move. Should we give some points to Julia Hart's moonsault here at All In? Yeah, it was a good looking moonsault. I gotta throw out some points. My point total is looking sparse, although there is plenty of time for this to beef up. I'm expecting way over 30 points today. But here's Chris Statlander, down and out. Old school, a little bit of old school by Julia Hart. How about that? Yep, just like The Undertaker. And let's see, here's a spot Sky Blue. So Sky Blue enters the match. Okay. So she enters to help Julia. You know what? I'm into all this interference. So far, I'm really digging this match. I don't really care if people say, oh, these people aren't in the match. What are they doing there? That's the rules. I'm here for Sky Blue. 2 points. Sky Blue in the house, if you know what I'm saying. Sky Blue in the house. Let's see what we got next, though. Next spot. Tekla. Here's Tekla walking like a spider, and she's looking at the next entrant. And it is Queen Aminata, one of her rivals since she's joined the roster. Aminata runs in, and here's a spot. Let's see. I marked this spot as being something significant. I don't even remember what it is, but let's play it. Aminata. Oh, shit. She tries to take off Aminata's head here. That looked amazing. You know what? I'm going to say I love that. I'm going to give that 3 points today on my review system of just looking like she really actually wanted to take her freaking head off. That's the best I've ever seen that done. I almost even want to give more points, but I'll stick to 3 points. Let's see. Excellent work from the two, Aminata and Tekla. I will point out that I like their work. You know what? I'm going to give an extra half a point just to Aminata and Tekla spot. That was a good spot. Let's see. Taz pointed out that Tekla is sort of liking this. She's demented, so she's got a demented side to her. Learning more about Tekla every day as we go. But let's see what happens here. Next up, we got Mina Shirakawa, the new interim Ring of Honor television champion. Fans happy to see her. Yes, Sky Blue, who's not even in this match, gets involved with Mina, fighting off with her. Mina's confused because she thought she got the win here because Sky Blue tapped out, but Sky Blue's not even in the match. So I thought that was a funny spot. I'll give that a point. Athena running in. She's next. She's going to be the eventual victor, but I'll get to that in a second. Thunder Rosa runs in, so this is a bit of a rematch they have between Thunder Rosa and Athena from the night before when Athena defended the Ring of Honor World title against her. Retained Shuri. All right, there's a new participant, a new member of the AEW roster, it seems. They showed a video package of her on Ring of Honor. So Mina Shirakawa looks happy to see her. Shuri locks eyes with Athena. I guess this might be a foreboding of things to come. But Mina and Shuri, they're familiar with each other. So they're happy to see each other. But business is business, and they must fight. So I'm moving on with whoever's coming in next. Alex Windsor, another newcomer here to AEW. We've seen a video package for her in recent days. Excalibur fills us in on the battles between Shuri and Alex Windsor in Japan, I guess. Excellent work. I will play a little bit of it. They both look professional. The punches are laid in, they sell. So just for the introduction to these two, I'm already giving a half point. I'm liking them. This is excellent for AEW. They need strong women on the roster. Let's see, the future. The future looks bright with Alex Windsor and Shuri, in my opinion. So, let's see, here's a pinfall that everyone breaks up. So literally, everyone is there to make sure that there's no pinfall. So that's what the thing is. Everyone in this match has to make sure that no one gets pinned. So that's a tough deal, but it is what it is. So here's a double spider spot for Julia Hart and Tekla. They both do the same thing. But I'm moving on with the match. Queen Aminata. Excalibur calls this a unique offense, but let's see what it is. It looks like a butt attack. You know what? I'm gonna give 2 points for that unique offense today. I'm liking this match. This was an enjoyable match to me. Whatever anybody says. Come on. How could you not dig this? This is craziness. This is madness. Let's see. Here's another spot from Megan Bayne. Looks like she's going to the top rope, and Statlander grabs her. Instead of a moonsault, it's a power bomb onto all the girls. Okay, there you go. Not a bad spot. Let's see, Tekla and Julia. They try hard to get in the ring after that, but they're knocked out. And Mina is left with Rosa in the ring. And after a long fight, Mina puts Rosa down and then applies a finishing move. And she gets nailed by Athena at the last second. So as she was going to apply a submission and finish off Thunder Rosa, Athena steals the win. So there it is. Athena, the Ring of Honor champion, now also has an AEW title shot. So in the bank. It's like a Money in the Bank. So MJF and Athena are the two that come out today on top. So no Billy Starks here for Athena. I noticed that. She did come with her last night and helped her in the Thunder Rosa match, but she did this one on her own. So I don't know what they got planned here. If she's going to drop that Ring of Honor title and come to AEW, or if she's just going to come maybe as ROH champion, challenge, lose, and go back. I don't know. I really don't know how I would end this, but I'd have to think about it. But overall, as a match, I'm going to give this whole thing 2 thumbs up. I was very impressed, I want to say, with all the girls in this match. Some of them were new, some of them have had storylines. So we're well on our way to having a good score here for AEW All In. But I'm moving on. I got to catch up quickly. I got like 45 minutes. I'm trying to squeeze this in. Next, we got the AEW World Tag Team title match. It's the Hurt Syndicate, and they're defending it in a 3-way against Jet Speed, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight, and the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, and his son, Nick Wayne. So that's been a long-standing storyline here where Christian took Nick Wayne under his wing and has kind of mistreated him in recent weeks. So I don't know, he's a strong father figure or something. Like he gives tough love, is what I'm trying to say. But there has been something cooking there, and something happens in this match, which I'll get to at the end of it. But for right now, I'll just leave that, and I'll say I didn't expect what happened to happen. FTR is on commentary. They've been teasing that they will be involved in this match. Them and the Patriarchy had a segment backstage where the Patriarchy basically asked them if they wanted to help them win this match, and they kind of didn't say yes. So they just want to stick their noses in there and show that they're involved in this tag team division. As far as Jet Speed, I'm a big Mike Bailey fan from TNA days. I think he's had a lot of good matches. I think he's very talented. Kevin Knight also, they're a good team, so they've done well. And last time we saw all this stuff, Hurt Syndicate were the one left laying. So Jet Speed actually got one over on them. Then the Patriarchy came in like vultures and picked the bones. But let's go to the match. That's enough talk about how we got here. FTR are here, fresh off a win on the pre-show against the Outrunners that they're very proud of. But the Hurt Syndicate get a special entrance. They get rappers who sing their song, We Hurt People. So the people obviously love that. Here's Jet Speed. Here is the Patriarchy. Christian and his son. Christian, who came out the night before on Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, to congratulate his son for retaining the Ring of Honor TV title against Titan. So some weeks he's been really mean to him, and then some weeks he shows him support and hugs him. So that's kind of been what they've had going on recently. And it's Christian, who is smashing Nick Wayne's mom, but she ain't here, I guess. Oh no, they are here. They're all here. The Patriarchy are all here. Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian are there with them. So you would presume they'll get involved or want to help, maybe. So here is FTR at commentary, and let's get on with the match. I'm sure we've seen Christian and Shelton Benjamin before. Christian, who I have a listener who's an avid peep, as I am. I'm a big Christian fan. I think the Patriarchy Christian is maybe not my favorite Christian, but I don't hate it. I like it. But I'm a big fan of Christian from the 2000s era. I think I was more of a Christian fan than an Edge fan for sure, but Christian is one of my top wrestlers. So he's fighting here with Shelton, Hurt Syndicate, getting some vengeance in for getting their ass kicked on Dynamite when both teams ganged up on them. Here's MJF of the Hurt Syndicate getting involved. Nick Wayne, who's pulled double duty this weekend, had a match the night before on Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. But the Hurt Syndicate in command early as Mike Bailey also gets some ass whippings. But they got to go to the ring. So Mike Bailey fights back out of this. Here's a little spot of Bailey. I don't know. I think he looks good. I think his punches and kicks looks good. I don't know, people criticize him. What more do they want? But Jet Speed used their speed to get back into the match. Here's Kip Sabian jaw-jacking with MVP and MJF, who are out on the outside. Here's a spot I'm going to give a point to. It's it's the Hurt Syndicate on the apron. I've never seen this because they're all trying to play nice and be on the apron and wait for their tags. So Kevin Knight is close enough to Lashley that he just grabs him and flings him over the freaking top rope. I like that spot. I'm going to give a point there. Let's see. Exaggerated selling from Kevin Knight, but, in this case, it's okay. I'll still give the selling a half a point for Kevin Knight doing some work here. Nick Wayne tries to pick up the scraps here, takes control of the match for a little bit, tags in Christian, I think. Christian, who gives a pose for basically no reason, but I'm still just going to give him a half a point. Just because he's Christian, and he's here, he's gracing us with our presence. So the Hurt Syndicate, eventually they get frustrated waiting for a tag, and they just come in. So here's an incredible spot with Mike Bailey getting flung over the top rope. This is going to be an extra point for me on my review system, because this was ridiculous. That looked great. That looked great. Here's the Hurt Syndicate beating up on Mike Bailey. Christian here breaks up a pin. The rules kind of break down here is that the ref can't get Christian out. So Christian, who's still in the match here, gets into it with Mike Bailey. So here's a good spot. Mike Bailey attempting a hurricane, or Mike Bailey attempting to head scissors Shelton Benjamin off the ropes here, and this is how the move turns out. Wow, that was cool. Kevin Knight ended up finishing off the move for Mike Bailey with his own head scissors. Never seen that before. I like that spot. I'm going to give that an extra half a point on this review today. But I'm moving on to the next one. See, I got another spot here for Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey. That was cool. Little stereo double team attack by Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. I'm a big fan. Here's another one from Nick Wayne. Man, that looked painful. The crowd actually popped for that. They were like, oh shit. I'll give a point for Nick Wayne breaking his back on the frickin' thing. So Hurt Syndicate are in trouble here. MVP comes in to distract the count from Christian. Finally, he counts two, the ref does, but it's too late. So Christian's upset with this because it looks like he had a chance to win. And here is the audio. Well, I was going to play some audio here of Taz. Not even knowing the rules, because he goes, is that legal here? Here, let's play what he says.
Corner. Can I ask you, is that legal? That's not Bobby's.
See, Bobby wasn't even in his own corner. He was just in a corner and tagged in. So people don't even really know the rules. But here's a that was cool. Man, I'm going to give that a half a point as Kevin Knight knocks Nick Wayne off of, what was it, Shelton Benjamin's shoulders? Or, no, Mike Bailey's shoulders onto Kip Sabian and Shelton Benjamin on the outside. But here's another spot I'll give a half a point to. You see they're racking up the points today, working hard. AEW, I got to give them some credit, trying to put on a show for the people. So here's an angle as Lashley pushes Christian into FTR. So FTR, that's their first involvement in the match. And Bobby Lashley pie faces Dax. Wow, that was cool. That pretty intense, all right? So they don't respect FTR at all. Funny. But here's the finish. So FTR are on the ring apron, so they're getting involved. They got pissed off at that. Here they are. Christian knocks them off the ring apron, okay? And here comes Bobby Lashley with a spear onto Christian, and the Hurt Syndicate retain. It was a tough match. That was a very tough match for them to get through. And FTR are pissed off at that, so I guess Lashley pushed off Christian into FTR, and that gave him the chance to give the spear to Christian, and Christian takes the pin. But alright, overall, I'm going to give this match a thumbs up. I will say I liked it. I thought it was a very solid matchup. So there is an afterbirth, though. So let's check out the afterbirth. We might have to hand out more points here. So the Patriarchy are mad at FTR, as they should be, because why are they even involved in this? And their plan got fucked up. If they were going to help them, they didn't. They actually fucked it up for them. So here's Christian jaw-jacking with FTR. And then Christian's like, all right, forget it. Fuck it. Let's dip. When the surprise happens, here's the swerve. As Christian's trying to leave the ring, Nick Wayne grabs him and puts him in the Unprettier, in the kill switch. And Nick Wayne is distraught as he has just turned on his father. You can see Stokely Hathaway talking shit in the corner. Alright, you know, I'm gonna give a half point to Stokely for that. I never give any points to Stokely, but fuck it, that was hilarious. Sorry, I'm trying to get a shot of Stokely in here. But let's stick to Nick Wayne. Okay, so Nick Wayne, who has been abused and he has not stood up for himself, and he finally does it here. FTR is shocked. It looks like they were not expecting this. Nick Wayne, Mama Wayne, she's happy too. After all the shit Christian has talked, maybe this was a swerve the whole time. By them, Mama Wayne gets a slap in. Christian used to talk shit about her dead ex-husband, I guess, or dead widowed husband. And I think they're gonna put Christian in a concerto when Edge's music hits. Alright, so here's a surprise. Here comes Edge, and he comes in, and they're all freaked out. And Edge takes out Kip Sabian, and I think he clears house here. Even FTR are in there fighting with Nick Wayne. Weird. So maybe he will be with them, FTR and Nick Wayne. I presume that's how it's going to turn out. But anyways, Christian and Edge. So as everyone escapes the ring, FTR, Edge looks at Christian, his brother, and Christian's like obviously been awful to Edge, so he's like tripping that Edge is gonna hit him. Christian's like, no man, not right now, have some mercy. And Edge actually helps him up in a serious way, and he grabs the mic, he tells him, go find yourself. Not go fuck yourself, go find yourself. And they share a dramatic look, and this is looking to be the beginning of the reconciliation between Edge and Christian. So I like that. I really like that. Actually, for this whole afterbirth, I'm going to give 2 points for the betrayal, the Edge thing, and the Christian thing. I'm looking forward to it. Why not? I was a fan of everything they did in AEW in recent months, so maybe they can join the tag team division. How about Edge and Christian against Lashley and Benjamin, huh? How about that? That would be tight. But alright, let's move on from here. Alright, next up, we got another marquee matchup. It's Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm, against Mercedes Moné. This is another one of those Tony Khan, you son of a bitch bookings to me that I just really, really like. I mean, shit. You have these two, book them together in the biggest show of the year. But alright, so Mercedes, she comes in, she has a big to-do with her entrance. Fancy car, huge robe, does the dance. Let's see, a video package for Toni Storm's entrance, a dramatic one. She comes in, she clicks her heels, and the world turns to color. So, cool entrances for both of them. I'll give a half a point just for Mercedes and Toni Storm's entrance today. But I'm moving on. Let's get to the match. We got a lot to get to in these next 30 minutes. Let's squeeze it in. Toni Storm Here's the ring announcer, Justin Roberts, in case anyone was wondering who was ring announcing. But the smelling thing, so they brought the smelling thing back. This was the funniest thing to me about their feud, which they had a really good feud. They had a very, very good feud. I was very into this match. I think the feud was very solid. It's the two best they could come up with. So I was very into the idea of this match, and I think it looked great. It looked fantastic. But some taunting early on from Toni Storm. Still very early in the match. But here's some submission moves. There was a lot of submission moves in this one. A lot of submission moves. Here's a good spot. I'll give a half point there for the spanking that Mercedes, I'm sure, doesn't feel like she deserves. So, Toni Storm, more taunting, doing the Mercedes dance as that pisses off Mercedes to no end. Luther getting involved. Okay, so he's trying to scare Mercedes back into the ring, right? And that leads to a hip attack. So Luther already paying dividends. Here he is helping again. This is a move they've done before. I like that move. I've seen it before, but I'll still give it a half point today. Interesting move that they've come up with. Toni Storm with on Luther's shoulders throws Mercedes Moné off the ring apron with some momentum. So Mercedes all alone here. No one has come with her. She doesn't have a valet. She's just a heel who's on her own. Here's more interference. Luther catches Toni Storm falling off the ring apron. And Mercedes here finally takes out Luther. So that was a great spot. The way she took out Luther there, that looked fantastic. I'm giving that a whole point. Moving on. Mercedes here. Looks like that's as close as she'll get to that AEW world title. But here's a spot with a powerbomb off the ring apron onto the floor for Toni Storm. That's tough. That's tough. All right, I'll give some points here for the women doing some work. And I'm trying to skip forward into this match. Here's submission move. Went back and forth here. Another submission move from Mercedes here. Really trying to get Toni to tap out. She can't do it. A hip attack leads to a Storm Zero. And this was a weak kick out. I remember this. So I don't know if that's even a kick out. But I got to take a point off there for that. It's okay, though. This is earning a lot more points than it's losing. Mercedes in a submission gets to biting to get out of it. So this shows how much this means to her. She'll go to whatever lengths, do whatever it takes. Here, a reversal from Monet leads to an ass kicking. Literally. I'll throw a half a point for the ass kicking. Let's see. More submission moves. All right, well, luckily we can skip these today. So after a headbutt, here they both go down, and here's a Monet maker, a good Monet maker actually, from Mercedes Moné, but that's a kick out. All right, Mercedes struggling to put Toni Storm away. Here's more smelling. I'll always give points for the smelling. Oh man. And Toni Storm reversal. So she reverses out of the Monet maker and into her own Storm Zero. Well, what the heck was that? That was a great move, but it was a false finish. I'll give a whole point for that move, though. That was really nice. Let's play it again. Tight, tight. These two are doing really good today. Gotta say, I gotta say. What the heck was that? Dude, that's another +1. I might give that 2 points. We gotta play this again. I can't even describe this move, to be honest, but what the heck? I don't even want to try to describe it, but Toni Storm just put Mercedes in some really cool looking move. So, really enjoying this matchup. Storm Zero here from Toni Storm. She still kicks out though. Toni Storm trying to figure out what to do. All these matches going all the way today. Here's a kiss. A kiss from Toni Storm and a Storm Zero off the middle rope. Okay, so that's seems like that would have to be it. Yeah, that is it. Toni Storm with the win. All right, so I got to give out some points though. I forgot about this. Of course, how can you not give points to that? I'll give that 3 points right there for the HLA spot on today's show. And then for Tony Storm winning the match, I'm going to give this match 3 points overall, just for the match. Excellent, excellent, excellent match. Great booking from Tony Khan. And Mercedes Moné is helped off. So I loved it. I don't know what else I could say about it. I think it was fantastic. I think it was great work. This is why they bring Mercedes in, not for the segments on the show, on the weeklies, but for this big time moment, and she delivered. So great work. All right, next up we got the semi-main event. It's Okada and Kenny Omega. We got a video package for it, but I'm going to skip to the match. Here's Jim Ross joining for the last 2 matches, the commentary. So this match in particular is the one that I had in mind when I was thinking, hey, we need to do a whole separate show just for the second half of All In, because this deserves some special attention. I mean, I spent all this time reviewing the weeklies, but they really threw a lot at us on this show here today. So I'm going to give it the respect it deserves, I will say. So Okada and Omega, they've had 3 or 4 matches. I don't know. I've seen them all somewhere on the internet in Japan, culminating in Okada winning the New Japan IWGP World title. And that was a big deal at the time. People said it was some of the greatest matches ever. So here they are fighting for the unification of the international and continental titles. I will give a preface, though, as we watch Kenny Omega's entrance. He had a dramatic entrance. Someone was singing for him. But yeah, really cool looking entrance for Omega. And even the bell ringing just got a huge pop from the crowd, that they were just happy to see this. So I'm going to give a I hated it rating here. So I have to take off 3 points. Unfortunately, I don't have a graphic for I hated it, but it's 2 thumbs down and another thumbs down, I guess, because I'm taking off 3 points. I'm going to come up with a graphic for I hated it. Here on our review system, it's just a little angry face with someone cursing. But I have to say, rest in peace to the AEW Continental Championship, which I love that title. I love the idea, the premise for the title where no one can interfere. And it was really the one thing that put Tony Khan over, because he just said, hey, no interference in these Continental title matches. And everyone respected it. There wasn't one moment where someone came out to help someone and he was like, hey, you know, he had to be like, I thought that would have been the moment where Tony Khan would have had to come out and be like, no, man, not in these matches. You can interfere in every other match, but not in this one. So unceremoniously here, as they're unifying the Continental title with the Continental International title, to make it the unified title, they dropped the rules of the Continental Championship. So there's no more no interference rules or anything like that. Don Callis is here, and he's going to help Okada win the match, and it's just going to be a normal match. So, okay, so I had to take off points for that because I was waiting until this moment to see if they would actually tell us if the Continental rules would still be in effect for this match. But no, regular match. So Okada has help if he needs it. So they lock up. Let's go through some highlights on this. There's a lot of them. Early on, Okada's like, you know, overconfident, telling him, yeah, nice kid. And then Omega does it back to him on the other side, very sarcastically. So just get a feel for each other's start to the match. Over the top rope dive here for Okada. Okada catching Omega, I mean. So that's also just getting their feet wet for a lot of over the top rope dives. But here's Okada stepping on the stomach, on the intestines of Kenny Omega, who has recovered from diverticulitis. But Don Callis' attack on Omega. I think I'm going to take off a point for Don Callis, looking fake as hell there on his attack on Omega. Here's a spot for Okada with a DDT onto the announce desk. And let's see what the next spot is. Disrespect spot. There you go. That's Okada disrespecting Omega. Omega's going to get up, obviously furious at this. Gets in Okada's face. Very dramatic, very dramatic. Kenny's going to go to that place, though. This is what's going to cause Kenny to go to that place, if you know what I'm saying. And here's the first over the top rope dive for Kenny Omega onto Okada. This is very reminiscent of their matches in New Japan. And here's Okada, or not Okada, Omega just, pointing at Callis, and Callis just runs away just from getting pointed at because he's just a little sniveling weasel coward. But anyways, a stiff drop kick from Omega here off the top rope. Just it's a hard-hitting matchup. These two are really laying it in today. I think I'm going to add a point here for this exchange because this is just, they're really good together. They're really good together. I'm going to give this match a high rating when I get to it. But let's see what we got. Okada with the drop kick here. So this is the old Okada getting air. I don't know, he looked good for this match. He lost some weight or something. He was just really in shape. Just to see the old Okada drop kick, I'll throw in a half a point. Okada here feeling good. Two of these top rope elbow drops from Okada. So we're just trying to keep track of the damage so far and see when it'll be enough for Kenny Omega, as he is fucked up. He is just fucked up. But he's fighting. He's fighting valiantly. Omega then comes back with 3 V-triggers. So Omega back in the match, and then this. Whoa, what the heck was that, man? You got to give some points here to Okada flying around at his age. It was surprising. This was a freaking good match. So after another V-trigger, Okada gets back with a twisting tombstone and Rainmaker combo. So Omega kicks out of Okada's first Rainmaker, and then we get our first interference. It's Rocky Romero from Don Callis' family, who is aligned with Okada at the moment. And then Ibushi, Omega's friend, comes in to thwart that interference from Rocky Romero. So here's more interference from Don Callis as Don Callis gets involved, and this leads to whoa. Oh my god, hold on. I gotta rewind that a little bit. Alright, let me explain a little more clearly what happened in this spot, the Don Callis interference spot. So Omega comes in, and he's trying to get rid of Don Callis. So Don Callis is on the apron, and he's trying to hit Don Callis. Okada grabs Omega, so Don Callis is off the apron. So the two fight for a second. Omega hits a V-trigger, and then a one-winged angel. So it's over, basically, when the referee gets pulled out by Don Callis. So not that there's no DQ or anything, but he steps on the referee so that he knocks him unconscious, I guess, and he can't call a DQ. Here's Don Callis in the background giving the middle finger to the crowd, not giving a shit that they're fucking pissed off at him. And here comes Aubrey Edwards. So here's the ref who's supposed to take over now. A second Rainmaker from Okada, but Omega kicks out here. And here's another shot to the diverticulitis. So he's trying to wear Omega down still. Still not enough. Omega, that's not enough to take down Omega. 2 Rainmakers. And here is Omega's last chance, actually. So this leads to the finish. So Omega's last chance is this roll-up. So Okada kicks out of that, but that was Omega's literally last interference, as Don Callis was there to break up the pin if need be. That was a little dangerous. That was scary. That was the scariest moment from Okada. But here's the finish. Here's a power slam by Okada, and then another Rainmaker. So it looks like Omega is just going to take the pin. Lots of interference, lots to deal with. Ibushi was there to help him, but in the end, Okada wins. The crowd's a little disappointed, but it's a victory for Kazuchika Okada, the new unified champion, as they call it. So Omega's helped to the back, and that's that. So let me see. What do I give this match? I can't give this match any lower than a 2 thumbs up. Like, I really liked it, I will say. I think I don't have any problems with it. It wasn't as good as the older matches, I think giving it, I really liked it as a good rating to me. I didn't think it was like fire or anything, you know. I just thought it was a very solidly worked match, and I was surprised that Okada could pull that off. So it could have been worse. It could have been worse, I think, is the issue. But overall, yes, it was a nice match for the people in America to see once, especially the people who are hardcore fans of New Japan. But regardless, I'm short on time, so I want to run through the main event. I got 15 minutes here. This is what we've all been waiting for. It's the big Death Riders finale, I guess. Texas death match between Hangman Page and Moxley. Moxley, who has been the champion for a long time, but hid it in a briefcase and kind of try to rule the show in a way, although they haven't really been a dominant stable. The Death Riders have. They've had their days, I will say. But regardless, this is going to be all hands on deck because Moxley will try to keep that title with everything he has and all of his people at his disposal, his henchmen and henchwomen, as we will see. And Hangman Page also has people on his side, Ospreay, Swerve, who it's been a long, long saga, but he has some people on his side who are going to try to help him thwart the Death Riders. But in the end, let's get to it. Hangman Page comes in with the dramatic cowboy entrance. She has a lady there whistling the theme song from Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And he comes in, and this is the last time we'll see him looking normal without blood all over his face. Here comes Moxley coming in with a nice truck with the rest of the Death Riders are with him. Marina and everyone else will come in too to this match. You'll see they'll all pour in. But the crowd pops crazy for this moment. As people say, I have heard some people call this the greatest hardcore match in history, as literally Hangman grabs a fork and just stabs Moxley on the head with it and breaks him open, busts him open. I don't know if Moxley kind of cut himself before the match a little bit, just so that it wouldn't be so hard, because that I find it hard to believe that he just stabbed him with the fork and he just started bleeding like that. But it looked really good. What do you want me to say? But yes, this was a very, very hardcore match. It was a Texas death match, so they brought out the most hardcore shit for this match, for the world title match. Was it the best hardcore match of all time? I don't know. I'll answer that at the end after I review what happened. But let's go through all the spots here. Here's a barbed wire spot for Hangman. Here's Marina getting some biting in on Hangman, who gave her the buckshot lariat a few weeks ago. So Marina called him a pussy on Collision. She said, "You're no cowboy. You're a pussy." So here she is getting involved. She's pissed off at him. And Hangman's bleeding a gusher a little bit. So color already for Hangman Page. All right. Here's a body slam onto barbed wire, a barbed wire steel chair for Hangman Page. We're just getting started though, so I'm not giving out points yet. But Marina and Moxley, they set up a table, which they're not going to use at this moment, but it'll factor in later on. So Moxley does get some glass from Marina. So broken glass, broken bottles, it seems. So the crowd is already tripping out about what's to come about this. Moxley here's a spot where he grabs the glass and rubs it all over Hangman's face. This got a big pop from the crowd. So just for the crowd being involved and being into this 7 hours into the show, I'm going to throw out some points for the crowd. Good job from this crowd hanging with this entire show. It was really long. Took me several sittings to get through it. But anyways, here was a tease. They had the crowd going a little bit about maybe Hangman going into those things. They wanted to see it, but for that tease, I'm going to give a half point. It does happen though. Eventually, Hangman just gets dragged through this and he cries out, "Ah!" So the crowd goes nuts for that too. This was a wild spot. That him just drag whatever, even if that's gimmick glass, I don't know. This was a crazy spot. The crowd was really into it. So 2 points for me for my review on this. I gotta say, I don't love seeing this hardcore shit, but in this case, these two are all about it, and they want that world title, so they're going to go all out. Fuck it. Here's a pile driver onto the glass again. Moxley put his ass on the freaking glass, so I don't know. I don't really dig that spot for him. Doesn't really make sense to want to give a pile driver onto the glass, but Hangman beats the 10 count. So that's the story of this match. It's kind of interesting matchup because it's a Texas death match. The rules are you have to beat the 10 count or put your guy down for 10 seconds or make him submit or tap out. So that's it. You can't just keep wailing on him. You have to basically beat him down to the point where you're like, all right, I think he's going to be down for 10 seconds. Then you stand away and let the ref count. So Hangman beats this count several times, but here's a spot they did. They actually did this spot at the Great American Bash earlier in the day. It was Ethan Page and Ricky Saints, but Moxley goes onto 2 chairs. Jim Ross says, yeah, that could give you paralysis. So Jim Ross is trying to put this match over. I'm not giving points for that spot, though. They did it earlier in the day, though. They stole it. Sorry. WWE beat you to it. So Hangman has Moxley reeling here, hitting him with barbed wire. When help comes, it's Wheeler Yuta. So Wheeler Yuta is the first guy to enter this match. First guy, because Marina was already involved in this match, and she will be some more. But yes, Hangman, already bloodied and beaten, is going to dispatch of Wheeler Yuta easily, and then he drives Jon Moxley into the glass. Damn. Jesus Christ. So they're using that glass. That glass is everywhere. It's just going to be part of this match now. So he hopes for a 10 count. Hangman is hoping Moxley will stay down for a 10 count when Marina jumps him. So Marina gets on his back, and they end up going through this table, which was an amazing spot for the fans. The fans really dug this. I dug this. I will go so far as to say I love this. I'm going to give this 3 points, this Marina through the table spot. Because Marina just wants to be involved in this. So sorry, you're going to be involved. She's been asking for it for a long time, getting her shots in on guys, but there was just a huge ass pop for that one. So that was fun. But enter, as Marina is down and out, enter Claudio Castagnoli. So he's the next Death Rider to enter this match. And there he is over here. This camera shot's that's kind of hard to see, but he enters and attacks Hangman Page. So enter Will Ospreay. So Ospreay, I don't know what took him so long. I'm gonna take off a half point for him not just being there literally immediately when. I'm sorry, I'm taking off a whole point. I can't take off a half point. But thumbs down for Ospreay not showing up earlier. What the fuck? But he ends up getting put down by the Death Riders himself. So shit, they put his neck in between a steel chair, and Claudio does his thing where he smashes his neck. And fucking Ospreay is down and out. After all this shit, Ospreay has talked. He tried. He came in and got fucked up in 5 seconds. And thanks for coming. He's going to get taken out on a stretcher, but we'll see that in a second. As the stretcher is coming, here's another spot that they're just going at it. These two through barbed wire table, Hangman and Moxley do go through. So they got to lay there and sell that for a little bit because that's fucked up. They've done that spot before, Moxley has with Kenny Omega, but getting caught up in the barbed wire. But yeah, there goes Ospreay. All right, so I'm going to give 2 points for this spot over here, the barbed wire table spot. They're just really throwing a lot at the audience here, trying to go home here with this match. But okay, back to Ospreay. Ospreay's taken away. Hangman and Moxley left in the ring, and the exchange here leads to a submission. So Hangman looks down and out, but this is the theme of the match, as I was telling you. He hopes for a knockout, but Moxley or Hangman beats the count. So he's got to beat him down more. He's got to beat him down more. And here's him beating the count at 9 here. So right at 9, he gets up at the last second. Sorry, let me show you how close that was. If this was a Rocky movie, it would have been really close. So the ref accepts this. And here's a Death Rider onto a steel chair from Moxley again, onto Hangman again. We'll see if he beats the count this time. There's the count and him trying to get up again, and he beats the count again. So here's Moxley getting in his face. Like, come on, dude. You better stay down. You got to stay down. You want more of this? Let's do it. So he brings out the plastic bags. Okay, so this was the spot where He suffocated Daniel Bryan back in the days. And then, oh, music hits. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh my God. It's a video of someone who just happens to be climbing Mount Everest. And it's Darby Allin. So he sent in a video from Mount Everest. And that didn't bring out Darby Allin. It brought out someone in a mask who turned out to be Bryan Danielson. So Bryan Danielson with the surprise here. Huge pop from the crowd. He joins the war. It's Bryan Danielson. You know what? I'll give 2 points for the surprise for Bryan Danielson. And then here comes Darby Allin as Daniel Bryan is joining the war. And Darby Allin comes in from the rafters, a la Sting. Very slowly, though, but okay. I don't know why. I don't know why he does it, really. But it looks a little funny, them just hoping they don't die as they freaking get dropped down for the rafters. But Darby Allin is here, and Moxley is surprised to see him. And is he going to turn the tide? So a coffin drop from Darby onto the rest of the Death Riders evens the odds. So I'll give a half a point for the coffin drop. And moving on with the match, as Darby is really, really into this. Second buckshot. So here's a second buckshot lariat onto Moxley from Hangman Page. And a Deadeye through a table here. Man, I got to give that Deadeye a point. As they both look fucked up. And then Moxley again tries to beat the 10 count, but Marina is here as she gets up from getting slammed through the table herself, and she helps Moxley get up. Okay, so Marina Shafir. That's awesome. I love that spot. I love that Marina spot. What do you want me to say? I'm adding points here. I'm dishing out points like crazy for this match. This is a great match. So here come the Young Bucks. Okay, so they're no longer the EVPs of this company as they lost earlier in the day. But for the Young Bucks surprise, I mean, not really a surprise, but just for their entrance into the match at the spot that was appropriate, I'll give them a half a point. So an EVP trigger, and out comes the bed of nails. So Moxley getting even more hardcore. Here's a spot of DDT onto the bed of nails. Not so crazy compared to what we'll see later. So no points for me on that one. But again, Moxley's hoping for a 10 count. He's confident this time that Hangman's going to stay down. Even the Young Bucks are. But nope. Again, right at 9, Hangman gets up. So the Young Bucks pissed off. Moxley is just distraught. And Moxley, he wants the title belt. So he tells Marina, give me the key, get the key out, and get the title belt out of the briefcase. So I guess he's going to want to hit him with the title belt. That's the plan. But instead what happens is, as Marina goes to get the briefcase, she's handcuffed by Prince Nana, who gets a huge pop from the crowd. So I'll give a nice spot to... This was a nice spot. I'll give this some points. This was a nice spot. Prince Nana got a big pop from the crowd. Marina is just distraught. So I'm going to give this one a point. I like this. And Marina doesn't know what to do. She's handcuffed. And enter Swerve Strickland. Okay? So Swerve, who has had a long-standing feud with Hangman Page, has the chain that Page left him on Dynamite, or after Dynamite, which aired on Collision. They had a little scene backstage where they had a talk and a sit-down. Hangman left him a chain. Here's Hangman looking at his old rival who has come to help him. How deep is this? For this moment, I gotta say, I love this shit between Swerve and Hangman. But I'm gonna give this 3 points on my rating. Just because it all culminated in this, the burning of the house, the torturing of the children. This is, and then Swerve leaves the chain. So he leaves the chain for Hangman. He's like, do it. I'm out of here. I did my job. So he leaves the chain for Hangman, and Hangman has to finish the job. And here's the finish. The finish, finally. It's a buckshot from Hangman onto the bed of nails. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta give that spot 3 points. I gotta give this spot 3 points. And then he uses the chain. So he gets the chain that Swerve brought him, and he hangs Hangman Page. Hangs Moxley, and that's the end of the match. I guess I gotta play the pop. Let's play the pop. as finally the crowd is relieved as the Death Riders' reign of the with the AEW Championship is over.
Yes!
And that's it. That's it. That's the end. All right. I got to give this match a rating as Jon Moxley lays outside of the ring in a pool of his own blood. Man, I got to give that image 2 points. That is so hilarious. That's so good. This was good. This turned out good. I don't know. I wasn't a big critic of the Death Riders storyline as many were. I was like, well, what are you going to replace it with? It is what it is. And that was an epic war. And the world title actually did fit in that briefcase. A lot of people said there's no way that world title is in there because it's so small. But yeah, they've proven that it was in there the whole time. So that's one thing that was revealed. But okay, let's give it a rating. For this one, I thought this was awesome. I'm going to give this a fire rating. First one in recent memory. But yeah, 5 points. 5 more points. 2, 3, 4, 5 points for my review. This match was freaking fire. I was dishing out points all over the place for everything and anything. This was their Tribal Combat WrestleMania match. And was it the greatest hardcore match of all time? No, but it might have been the greatest hardcore match in such a spot, like the world title match in the main event of the pay-per-view of the WrestleMania, of their WrestleMania type of show. Like, yeah, I don't think in recent memory, like, there's better hardcore matches. Like, Mick Foley has better hardcore matches, but those weren't for the world title, you know what I mean, in the main event. So, yeah, maybe for that situation, this could be the best one that I've ever seen. But otherwise, all right, 78 points for my All In Texas review. That's a monster rating. It was a long-ass show. It was 6 hours. So, you know, I think they did a good job. I think they did a good job, especially not giving a fuck what fucking WWE were doing, that they had 10 shows. They're like, fuck you, we're just going to go all day ourselves. And they did it all in one day. I prefer that they did it in one day than if they split it into 2 nights, like All In Night 1 and All In Night 2, like WrestleMania. Like, no, just finish it off. Do it right then and there. People will get drunk and go home and be hungover the next day, not have to freaking come back for another show. So, they put a lot into this, and I decided to take the time to watch it, and I'm glad I did, I will say. I don't think I was disappointed. I think it was fun. So that's my review for All In Texas. Dynamite's tonight. Have fun with that. As for this channel, I think I'm going to take a break from AEW and WWE. My plan is to catch up on the Juggalo Championship Wrestling tomorrow. I've missed the last 2 episodes, and there's a new episode coming up tomorrow, so I'm going to maybe do a watch-along tomorrow for those 2 ahead of the next JCW Lunacy. And then starting Friday and over the weekend, I'll get back to reviewing this week's shows, including Raw and NXT, and then we'll get to Dynamite and Evolve and all that as we do. Don't worry, we'll get all your reviews to you sooner or later. So that's all for today's show. Thank you for listening, whoever's listening. Thanks to all my peeps out there, Christian's peeps. Disappointing night for Christian, but it's okay. It's all good. He'll be back. Maybe a World Tag Team title run might be in his future with Edge, but we'll see about that. All right then, take care. Have a good day. We'll see you on the next one.